I am mentally drained from the absolute. How long were you going off about New York, Dennis? How long was that? I think it's been like a solid 15 minutes.
It's been 15 minutes. Yeah.
Not long enough. Not long enough. And I will be shitting on New York State until the day I die, I guess. Because
see, again, what I thought went down was that you literally just couldn't tell the difference between miles and kilometers, and so you started heading like 65 miles, which in like a 420 kilometer zone or whatever the fuck. Like, I'm an American. I don't know.
420 kilometer.
I'm an American. I live in the 0.1% of countries in the world that doesn't use that whack ass metric system. All right.
Can I also just say, when I was up in Niagara, hi guys, welcome to the Double D Experience with guest this time.
Welcome. This is literally the DDE experience. Now we got 2 D's and an E. We have Negaman, NegativeDan, Negative Daniel returning to the show once again. It's not actually his name. Don't call him Daniel.
Don't call me Daniel, please.
Yeah, and that's all we're gonna say. Introducing Evan, because he has nothing to promote, because he is a bum I found on the street.
He found me sitting outside his house.
I don't even know how he saw Spider-Verse, to be honest.
Yeah, he had a nice cardboard box though when we saw him. So at the very least, it's like he's down on his luck, but he's not too down on his luck.
No, actually, from the post office out.
Yeah, like he just robs the USPS like every now and then. Just grabs some boxes and just tapes them up and just takes them outside. And then he's just that's just our tax dollars just bleeding right there.
Right.
This is
New
why
York tax dollars.
This is why we have to kill all the homelessness. We have to wipe them out.
You like those conspiracy theorist TikTokers that think that the Purge they saw the Purge and they judge their opinions off of like future,
and they think it's the final solution. We have to, this is what we have to do.
If there is any man that's going to come up with the final solution, it is not Michael Bay. All right, like that's not the one that's going to do that. All right. And thankfully, he had no stink over this movie that we're going to be talking about. Today's Spooderverse Day. We finally all saw Spooderverse. I saw Spooderverse with Evan. He kept turning to me at his favorite parts to see if I would laugh.
Man, I don't know. I don't remember doing that.
I think is fucking adorable, by the way.
I don't remember if I did that.
My family does the same thing. I do it too and refuse to admit it until now.
All it screams is like, does he like it? Does he like the scene? Does he like the scene that I like?
Like when I took Dennis
to like it, right?
When I took Dennis to see Puss in Boots, I was praying that movie would have the same fucking existential and spiritual experience on him that it would have on me. And I cannot express my joy when he turned to me and he was just like, "Yeah, that might be like a top 5 movie I've ever seen." And my pee-pee went like way up, and it was all good. So Evan felt the same way about Spider-Verse to me. I saw it with him. We had a grand old spanking time. The good thing about New York, I will say, as opposed to
the city. Fuck the state.
We weren't in the city.
Well, where did you go?
We were in Queens. Which I guess is the 5.
You know what I mean though. Like you in the 5 boroughs. Outside of that is just like a jungle. You don't need to worry about it.
Not going into like actual
There's
New York.
There's nothing out there that you need to worry about.
Not going into actual New York, right? Like not going there. It's like Florida. People go to Florida, be like, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to Orlando. I love Tampa. Have you ever been to actual Florida?
Dude, it's so bad.
Oh no, yeah, countryside Florida is like, it's some shit. No.
You just see him like tuning the banjo, like no, warm out today.
Let me tell you guys something.
It was
about
warm yesterday.
New York State.
It's probably going to be warm tomorrow.
New York State is quite possibly one of the most like just how do you exist type of places, like just flat out. And this is coming from my experience driving up there to go to Canada. So we had to pass through New York State. And the 4 hours that me and my girlfriend were driving through there, we saw all the shit that is associated with the South all up there. I honestly was half expecting, because there were so many houses with like those low porches, that I was half expecting a guy to just be out there like shining his shotgun like in front of everybody. Like it was honestly like one of those like really bum hick fucking places that like
shotgun was like a reed in his mouth.
It really was like one of the places of all time, because like I went and I drove through Louisiana, mind you, and it was just as southern down there as it was up there. There was almost no difference whatsoever. Like all Louisiana had between it and New York State was just like gators. That was it. Like, you have wetlands down there, and that's about it. But like up in New York State, it honestly is like Dixieville up north. Like, that's what the fuck it is.
Excuse me, sir. Do you know how to get to the Canada Yu-Gi-Oh tournament?
Bro,
yes, right back to where you came, Kim Jong.
The cops all had that stupid hat. You know, like that stupid kind of wide-brimmed hat that, like,
You're lying.
No, I'm being serious. New York State cops, they have that. That's who pulled me over up there.
That, yeah.
Yeah. And like they all like the guy even walked up like this. But the funny thing was that like what I'm saying, like, and what I'm referring to, guys, since you can't see what we're doing right now, he had like his hands on his belt buckle and like walked up. But funny enough, the cop was very nice. He was honestly quite civil. It was I don't think he even knows that, like, because he just figured, like, you know what, the way he phrased the ticket was that, like, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna give you a ticket just for speeding, and I'm like, just for speeding?
Just for speeding.
Considering how speeding be like the fucking
only thing
whale of tickets sometimes, depending on what states you go to. And I've even heard Virginia is even worse because, like, if you, because I was speeding, guys, going up from New York State to Canada, and I heard in some states, especially in Virginia, it's labeled as reckless driving, which for them they take very seriously up there. It's almost constitutable to jail time, apparently. And so I mean,
step below a felony.
So I mean, you know,
why don't they do that shit like up in North Jersey instead? Where like at midnight, like I always hear like those freaking like small cock like fucking douchebags revving their life-saving spent cars like racing against each other. Like, look how cool it is that I'm going 120 on a highway.
They're broke ass Fast and Furious. That's like what the fucking car seat sometimes be up there in Jersey.
I didn't know that a shrimp cock had a sound effect. Until I heard those guys like driving around. No one thinks it's cool that you're driving like 130 recklessly on a fucking highway.
No.
No one thinks you're cool. No one.
In all honesty, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, they are like just super insecure about themselves. The second you hear their car go above like 30 decibels. It's
like when they hear the exhaust note behind them, it just makes them pee a little bit in their pants. I don't know what it is. It just like literally like makes them forget about their shitty existence and just kind of makes them realize, like, just makes them almost forget about everything.
No, until bro, he's driving fast so he can.
Until their cars wound around a fucking telephone pole, and then, like, you know, they just get like that. It's like a sweet. It's like when you come, but then like someone shoots you in the head right after you finish coming. It's just like it's like practically the same thing almost.
Do they think that they believe that if they drive like a certain speed on the highway at a place where they're not supposed to, that's how they're gonna escape the Matrix? Like it's back, it's Back to the Future, and when they think that thing hits 188 miles an hour,
maybe
it's just that's when the serious shit's gonna come through.
Maybe they've already exhausted all the other methods. Maybe they've already tried the toaster in the bathtub. Maybe they already tried sticking a fork in the outlet. They just can't escape it, so they just ran out of options, and therefore, car.
Go fast.
Yeah, just go fast. Like
me and Evan did make a suicide pact when we were in Queens. I don't remember what it was about though.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember either, but all I remember is that I started singing "Blaze of Glory." Like you and I just took hands, like he's sitting in the passenger seat and I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm like, going out in a blaze of glory.
That's when we were driving to the theater. It was just
it's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Oh my god.
That's what we're singing to Spider-Verse, and considering that movie is probably not going to come out for like 2 years. Nothing confirmed, but probably not.
Probably not.
Wait, what do you mean? The third one? It's already been slated. No, it's already been slated.
I don't believe it.
It is.
No, I believe you. I don't believe it.
Like, as in, like, because everything
you're
points to that movie.
Full of shit. This movie's coming out next March.
This movie,
bro,
because everyone believes that it was made around the same time, when in reality the second movie was made or like almost finished, and then they started making the third movie. Sorry, excuse me.
I don't blame them for crunching it at the same time, or Sony trying to do that to get ahead of it.
If
especially
they had
considering
made it, like,
that
alongside, it would have been fine, but they didn't.
Because Across ended on a cliffhanger. Like, I get it. Listen, I'm a Venture Brothers fan. I've been waiting 4 fucking years for the movie that is coming out this month. So I know a thing or two about patience when it comes to shit. There is a Danny Phantom graphic novel dropping this month that is a continuation of the original show.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, he was literally almost yelling at me about it, like in the car.
I know, Adam. Dude, look at. I've shown you this. Look at my motherfucking. Look at my. I can't pull it up right now. Hold up. God
You got too excited.
I did. I got.
His thumbs tripped over themselves.
It got a little sexual.
I just gotta tell my friends about this.
You can sort of see it. But you can literally see that shit. You see that fucking fan art that I have as my wallpaper?
Yeah.
Where's my Sam, bro? Where is my fucking
Where's
Sam?
my Sam? I want my Sam.
Every man needs a Sam, man. Alright, you know what? Fuck Spider-Verse. Real quick, just give me 5 seconds. I need to go off the top 10 reasons why Danny Phantom is better than you. 1, he is literally dead inside. 2, he literally has a big titty goth girlfriend. 3, he has a friend who always has the latest shit. 4, his mom is fucking hot as fucking fuck. 5, his sister's kinda bad though, I can't even lie. 6, alright, I only had 5.
Can I also...
That's actually all I want. This isn't a topic. That's all I wanted to say about Danny
I
Phantom.
want to stir up some controversy with this movie.
Alright.
Oh boy.
Because I love me some controversy. Because
Danny Phantom wasn't in it.
I'm a bad
Trash.
I'm a bad
Where's the
boy,
Ghost Spider-Man?
and
Real shit from like the Ghost Dimension. That would have been sick.
no one speaks to New York State like me, so therefore I need to stir up some controversy, as you know, what I mean. I just
You were trying to become an actual Ghost Spider-Man. That's what you were trying to do.
I honestly have to say, because out of the 2 at least big name Spider-Man movies that have come out in the last, like, let's say year, which was No Way Home, and then also this one, Across the Spider-Verse, I'm gonna have to say it. I honestly think Across the Spider-Verse was better than No Way Home. As a Spider-Man movie, I have nothing against with our 3 main live-action OGs, which is Toby, Andrew, and then also Tom. I got nothing against them, and the movie was fucking great, anyways. Like I'm not taking nothing away from it. But honestly, Across the Spider-Verse had, like, I think it's one of those things where a movie's long as fuck. Like, you see that runtime, and sometimes you feel that runtime.
Or sometimes you're like, you're scared.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just scares people away, like, flat out.
Me and Evan saw it at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like when it started. Yeah, we didn't get out that theater till like
fucking 1:30. But were you
1:30.
guys bored for 1 second? No. Did you cringe at any line that was said throughout the entire movie?
Well, the one good thing I will say about New York State is that... No Way Home
still follows the stupid Joss Whedon formula, which I fucking will despise until the end of time. And whoever the fucking writer... the writers, I guess. Yeah. And they're still following that formula, because it's like a Bible to them. It's just like, we won't make big money without Joss Whedon jokes and cues. So we must do it, otherwise no money. And Unga Bunga, Joss Whedon, God, like we just must follow dialogue like he does. All time best writer.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Joss Whedon just appears right in front of, like, right behind you, and just chops your fucking head off. Like that's like, yeah, it's just like Bloody Mary. You see Joss Whedon 3 times in front of the fucking mirror, he'll just show up and just kill you.
He'll show up and be like,
Joss Whedon.
Yeah, and like he'll just actually say like, yes, I am right behind you, and it just stabs you right, like, real quick. And
real quick with cap shield.
The thing was that even No Way Home, and like, you know how at least Toby and Andrew were in the movie, like, right, they were themselves. They were the same way that Raimi and whoever made Amazing Spider-Man wrote them. And at the very least, I like that the writers respected that, and like just the way that they acted personality-wise was still consistent throughout that movie. Because I thought they were gonna go the same fucking direction and just kind of have him or them the same way it kind of as, like, you know, everyone else was in Marvel Disney, where it was just like, haha, funny one-liner crack, haha, like thing. Ain't that funny? He's right behind me, isn't he? Like, just, you know, dumb shit like that. And there was a lot of callbacks that I loved from, or like callbacks, I guess callbacks from the previous movies with them that they did, you know, with Toby's like, oh, my back! Like, you know, everyone remembers that classic fucking line, of course. But, at least for Miles and Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse and In Your Mother's Spider-Verse, it's all just like, at the very least, like, it was its own fucking entity and movie separate from those entirely. There's still Spider-Man, but at the very least, it's like Miles is his own person, which thank fuck, because I just found out that when those comics first came out, nobody really liked them.
So
like,
I actually had to correct myself on like when I learned more about Miles, is that everyone liked him at first because he was in his own universe. And then the problem was they brought him into the mainline Spider-Man universe.
And replaced Peter, right?
And basically we're trying to replace Peter while also having Peter there. So it's like, no, we don't want this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
It was one of those things where it's like literally it was like turf wars. Miles is in Brooklyn. Spider-Man's in Queens. Why the fuck is Miles not helping out Peter? Why the fuck is Peter not helping out Miles? You know, sort of thing.
Oh, okay. It's just like we have our own hoods that we're like helping out.
We
and
have
like,
our own turfs that we don't fuck with everyone else.
We do no community outreach with Spider-Man, like just flat out. We like fuck your hood and fuck your neighborhood. Like we don't give a fuck about Brooklyn or Queens, like vice versa, really. But that's why people may like. I mean, I don't know how many people really care that much about No Way Home and Across the Spider-Verse, which, I mean, the movies were great, like, don't get me wrong, I did love them, both of them, but I think it's one of those few examples where, like, there are both superhero movies, but the tones themselves, like, part of me is even saying that, like, it's almost impossible to kind of even compare them, like, one to one, just because, like, one's live action, one is animated, and truth be told, the effects in Across the Spider-Verse,
bro,
straight up almost gave me epilepsy and a seizure because it was so much fucking flashing lights. Like, I'm not epileptic at all, but if you are prone to seizures, you have to close your eyes during this movie.
Hobie alone almost put me on the ground.
Hobie was and he was so interesting the way he was animated, but I was still like, bro, I can't tell, one, what he's saying half the time, and two, whatever the fuck he looks like.
He was one of the few characters in that movie. I thought the Indian guy needed subtitles, but no, Hobie needed subtitles.
He needed subtitles on his intro. That was literally it. Because after that, I couldn't understand it. But his intro, I was like, what is he saying?
Had blurbs on the bottom right corner of the screen of telling you what the fuck they're saying, because like it's slang that I'm sure nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about, which I appreciated. But if you have to go that length to explain what the fuck a character is saying, it's not gonna hit.
That guy was so East London, he was practically in Sweden. Like that shit. I mean this genuinely. Like, it was kind of too much. Like, and again, I got to. Evan kept looking at me to see my reactions to certain shit. I wasn't saying too much, not just because we were in a theater with other people, more people than I thought there would be at a late night.
I watched it at 4th of July, mind you. So like. I even thought the same thing. Like, I thought y'all be at barbecues and fucking bitches, but apparently I guess not. Like, because a lot of them brought their families too. So I was like, okay.
Bro, we were at 11 o'clock at night. There was a little girl or like a little kid in like the front row. I was like, what the fuck? That's my first
front row. He was just like this the whole time.
I was just silent because I was literally trying to take it in.
Yeah.
As much as I can. Not just Hobie and his accent and the fact that him alone as a character had more animation than some legitimate shows that get put on television. It's the fact that, like, this was my take on it afterwards. I didn't say this to you, Evan, after we saw the movie, but, like, I have no quarrel with this movie at all. Truthfully, I'm not as obsessed with the cultural significance of Spider-Verse as much as a lot of other people are. Probably, and not to delve into this too far, it's probably also because I'm white. If I'm being completely honest, because those movies are very culturally significant to minority groups, especially African Americans. Like Miles is representation fucking matters. I remember seeing the Mario movie. I remember seeing the Mario movie with you, Evan. There was that little girl who was just popping off so hard when Peach was on screen, and I wanted to cry. That just made me so happy. I'm like, it was the cutest thing, and I'm like, that's fucking important. Why am I the only type of person who should get to have that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my take from the movie, it is so. The movie is it's a technical marvel.
Oh no,
it is literally the spectacle. It is the most impressively animated film of all fucking time, and you can't tell me it's not. I'm not just saying that because it's a popular movie. If there's some independent film that, you know, like, oh, this guy drew the whole thing 24 frames a second with his cock. He just put, like, his paint on the tip of it, and just, like, frame by frame, just painted the whole thing with his dick. It's like, it's cultural, and, like, the art of that is amazing. No. The movie was so visually stunning to the point where it was distracting for me. Like, I'm serious. I had a hard time keeping up sometimes. Granted, the movie still accomplished its goal because I was still able to follow the plot for the most part. As multiversy as it gets, as like confusing as it can get at some points, I was still able to at least follow it for the most part in a general sense. And the general audience, even like with some of like the crazy background details, might not be able to get all of it, but they won't care. Lowest common denominator, like visuals are good, like we got the general plot, whatever.
Right.
But for me, I had a hard time literally visually keeping up with it at times. And I'm a young dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, it was so...
a billion things going on at once. Like,
and
just
I
in that
thought
movie.
that was a hot take. It was not. I have a friend who's an animator, actually, and he loves that movie. His phone wallpaper was the upside-down shot with Miles and Gwen sitting on the phone.
That one
he
shot
fucking
was
loves
what I was
that movie.
like...
Yeah. And even he told me, he's like, yeah. Like, it's pretty...
I agree.
It's a pretty common take, actually. It's so visually impressive to the point where I wanted to fucking vomit.
The part that,
and I almost did, because the good thing about New York State, Evans Theater that he was at sold fucking beer. So I was having a beer with my... Yeah, I remember walking back from Let's Make Big Moves 2020 as a major I casted back, 2020, I casted back then. I went to Chipotle, I had fucking beer in the fridge too. It's like, I'm about to get a dad gut today.
Burrito with a cold one? Delicious.
It was really funny because he saw the beer and he was like, they sell beer? And I'm like, and I went, oh yeah, you're from New Jersey, I forgot. Because they don't sell beer in theaters.
I never paid you back for that, by the way.
It's okay, man.
Can I also just say one thing too, that it's something that a lot of movies that take place in New York love to do, but a lot of them just do not work on me. Is like how a lot of movies that take place in New York, they love to make New York like really beautiful from the rooftop. And I'm gonna say this right now, that Spider-Verse is the only one that actually made New York actually lookable. From from a fucking skyline, from a skyline view, because everyone in Jersey fucking like will cream their pants for a fucking skyline view of New York City. For whatever reason, it's just like it's skyline or bust for them. Like it's just like, I don't want this property like if I don't have a skyline view of the city. And every shot, just specifically talking about New York here, every shot that a movie had of New York City, like just as a background, even like especially the shot where, again, the scene where what was it? Miles and Gwen, are upside down, and we see the city like basically upside down. I wish New York was upside down sometimes because it would look better. TBH, like it would honestly look better if it was flipped upside down. And now, like, it's just like a stupid quip, but like I honestly feel for this movie, and like we even said it already before, that yes, one, it is a visual fucking masterpiece. It is a
visual marvel. Yeah.
And it is honestly, as David said, I'll even agree with this as well.
I agree with it too.
It's
too much.
It's too much. It's honestly way too distracting.
Bro.
It's like a girl if she was just straight up already a 10. She just looks somehow like the makeup and shit that she put on just enhances her to like a 12 or 13, right? And it's just like, you're just distracted by everything. She could be having the greatest conversation with you of all time. It could be the most riveting shit. You're talking about life, the universe, your mothers. And it's just like, after that, like, you know, she just like, she's talking, right? But it just goes like, like, and it's not even for like vulgar reasons either. It's just like,
what the fuck am I looking at?
It's like, stop. You're screaming like right now. It's like, no, I'm just talking. It's like, no, your face. It's like your face is just screaming. Like you're talking at a 6, but you're just or an 11
that is just like
screaming.
Genuinely like so hot, and also an amazing person, but like you
just distractingly
you want to pay attention to what she says, but you're just having a hard time because like the sheer beauty. Bro. We are apparently going to see Hobby's home world
A Hobie
in the
Oh,
next
God.
one. Hobie's Homeworld in the next one.
Oh my god.
Bro, if we see Hobie's Homeworld in the next one, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital.
If New York, India,
I'm just telling you right now.
If New York, India was already like,
yeah,
like
Him alone was like,
Just
dude,
him.
I'm not even kidding. Incredibles 2. The Incredibles 2. There was a fucking seizure warning that theaters gave out. Because there's a scene.
I don't think this
in-
one gave it, did it?
oh right,
There's
where
a
the
scene
main
in
villain with the flat, yeah.
Yeah, where like Elastigirl's like
Oh,
in
yeah.
like his lair and shit, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she traps him in a cage, and then the cage for no fucking reason just has massive strobe lights
yeah.
like
Yeah.
everywhere, and I'm like, that's a little much.
That must have been fun for the kids that are
Sony?
prone to seizures.
I'm surprised Sony needs to. Someone's got to go down with that, because I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen.
Oh, so,
Someone's gonna drop into the fucking theater.
If someone hasn't already done it, like right now,
yeah,
If
really.
we see Hobie's Homeworld, because him alone was too much for me. Like, I'm like, what part of him do I have to look at? It was just too much, man. So like that, I don't know, man. It's gonna be scary. Like it's gonna be visually stunning, but it's gonna be like. It's gonna be like
I have
staring at the sun, and then on top of staring at the sun just turns into a fucking strobe light.
Let me also
and you're
just say,
staring at it.
us saying that this movie was just visually overwhelming is no points off on it. We're not taking points off because of that. There's no points off for that at all. And
I have
it's just something that kind of just a little bit bothered me because like I'm old now. And when I was like at least 10 years younger, I could see flashing lights like a fucking drooling idiot and just be not affected. Now, like, I watch
My
like
head
really,
hurts, yeah.
like I see like a lot of flashing lights. My eyes and my head actually fucking hurt, and it wasn't enough to make me go like, ooh, like you know, down on the floor. But like, it did like just annoy me that I had to actually like, you know, when you like just have your eyes open for a long time. I'm not talking blinking, right? But you have to like squeeze your eyes a bit before you open them up again.
yeah.
Like it's just
like
how
you're
strained
squinting,
yeah, like how strained your eyes are. That's what I did like 5 times throughout that entire movie. I had to go like, oh my god, like thing the whole time.
I was telling Evan as we were leaving the theater, like straight up, I love my mom and dad. I'm not even sure if they're gonna get too much out of that movie because I'm not sure how well they're gonna be able to follow it.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like it's. I don't know how else to describe it in a funny way, man. Like when something is just that visually stimulating to the point where it's kind of distracting.
And I wanted to use this moment to talk about. Okay, so on YouTube, I have seen so many fucking videos of like this summer blockbuster year is like terrible, aside from like Spider-Verse, right? In terms of animation. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, why is that? So I started looking up stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically the cost of each movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, what is it? Cost. Okay. Spider-Verse cost $100 million to make, by the way. That movie only cost $100 million, which is completely batshit to me.
Yeah,
And
for an
some-
animated movie as well, like animation is usually way more expensive.
No, actually, funnily enough, what I learned is that Pixar is the reason anime movies are expensive, because they own most of the shit you use to make that shit.
Oh, they own the technology.
Yeah, they patented and own the technology. Which I was like, oh, that's why Elemental cost $200 million to make, and it looks like every other Pixar movie ever made.
Wow. I had no idea.
Wow.
And I looked up Across the Spider-Verse. I was like, there's no fucking way this movie cost $100 million to make, and something like Indiana Jones cost $300 million.
Dude, a lot of this is just like what we were talking about last week, man. Like,
Like,
Dennis,
what
how
the
you
fuck?
mentioned, like, Disney just has, like, its grips on, like, everything. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned. And then we also said something about like, Spider-Verse briefly last week, or some movie or something like that we mentioned earlier, but I don't remember.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me at all to hear, Evan.
Well, no, what really surprises me is in comparison to the first one, the second one only cost $10 million more to make in cost. Like, the first one only cost $90 million. This one only cost $10 million more, and they made it look so much better. So much more visually stunning. It's like, how the fuck?
They honestly, like, I think for the animators for this movie, they literally just, like, they vetted these guys like motherfuckers, I swear. Like, they got, like, a crack-ass team behind that animator.
And they're still
division.
overworking them, you know?
And they're still overworking them, yeah. And it's almost getting, I bet it's almost getting to, like Japanese anime studios levels where it's just like they're just cracking the whip on them. It's just like,
Oh, no, yeah.
"Yes, I just want to see my family. Shut up! Get in there!
Animate that
Animate
one
the
frame of
Spider-Man.
Gwen. Animate Gwen flying. It's like animate Gwen.
Make Gwen's
going to the
ass bigger.
helicopter. But yeah, no. So
Who told you to sleep?
That's what really got me. Where I was like, this only cost $100 million. Then when I looked at the first one, I'm like, and that only cost $10 million less. I'm like, damn.
I would.
And I feel bad. Go ahead, Dennis.
Oh no, yeah. I was just saying, like, I would just love to just have a microphone to some of these animators and just see how much of a big ass gun they have to the back of their head as I'm interviewing them. It's like, so can you describe to me the conditions in which you were working in during this movie?
Oh, it was great.
It was great. It's just like reading a script that like the guy behind me is like already like got like a phone. It's got like his own teleprompter right up there. It's just like, it was great. The conditions were totally livable. It was totally livable. And they were feeding us 3 meals a day. And
You
like,
just sound like that Texas speech.
Yeah, I love being an animator on Spider-Verse. It is my favorite job to do. I totally don't want to die. Someone please help. I have wife and kids. I need to see
really
them.
need this job, otherwise I will go destitute and probably die.
You can tell I'm getting burnt out when I'm using this transition.
In all seriousness, I think it's and this is all just conjecture, but I think it's impossible to say that there wasn't some serious crunch for this movie.
Definitely.
Oh, there were, dude. Animators went out. I have that tweet bookmarked somewhere. Let me find it.
And it is like, and that's the fucking thing that like it's like probably one of the main things it's not that, I guess I have to say it, I really don't like about this movie. And it's nothing about the movie itself, but it's just like, yo, these animators better get like fucking A-list jobs after this movie.
They better be set
They
for
all
life after
deserve
this
it,
fucking
really.
movie.
Like, I hope they don't just want to stay with Sony all their lives, but at the same time, it's like you kind of see if they're trying to leave due to like, let's say
Bad conditions, whatever, yeah.
or even just like industry reasons. It's like they're just trying to move up the ladder, let's say, and like a lot of people, they think like, okay, like I go from Sony Pictures to then Disney, that's like a step up, right? But in terms of the work that they're putting out there and they're putting their name on, it's not really the fucking A-list shit that you really want to be known for. And people may even argue, well, it's Disney, it's already inherently A-list. And, you know, maybe to a certain extent, I guess. But it's just like, if we're really just gonna take it as just movies, they're pretty shit. They're not like what you'd imagine, or at least what you thought that Disney, with all of their resources, would be cooking up. And I'm even like leaning more to the kind of argument where I honestly even feel their shows are better than their movies, and it's not even by that much either. They're not that much better. And like, it also just kind of seems like, yeah, movies do make the money like for at least a good month or two while they're in theaters, but like, look, Puss in Boots was in theaters for about 3 months, and it was in the theaters a month past of usually when they take a movie off of the theater, and people were still going to fucking watch it. And there is no argument that, as far as, again, like we even said it last week, anything that Disney has made, minus I guess a few of the bangers that have come out lately, and you know, I can't even associate Across the Spider-Verse with Disney because like it's not even their shit, it was Sony's. And like, in terms of multiverse shit too, Across the Spider-Verse did it way better than fucking Doctor Strange.
Dude, they're shitting on, we mentioned this last week too, they're shitting on them in that, they're shitting on DC in like that department too. You know, it's like, I said this last week, this is how we ended, this is the other topic that I was like correlating. I went off on DC last week, and I straight up said like, when the fuck are they gonna take the buttloads of money that they are dumping into these god-awful live-action movies, just trying and failing to emulate the success of live-action Marvel, and just pour that money into their animation projects? The ones that they're actually critically... Exactly! The ones that they're actually critically acclaimed for.
And the like literal only thing that they have good movie live-action-wise is basically the Batman, and that's a standalone, basically. It's not even part of their bigger picture.
Not even everybody liked that movie either.
I'm saying that's their best one, and that's not even like that great. You know what I mean? Like in terms of box office, whatever. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we're just going by numbers specifically, yeah. Like it's not. Yeah. It don't got the big numbers. It don't got
the only thing they have going for them live action wise is Batman, and even Batman is showing its age in terms of like ideas being thrown around. You know,
I don't know if they're still trying to like piggyback off the success of like the Dark Knight trilogy when that had nothing to do with the IP, just the IP. It was also because of Chris Nolan.
But
you know, like it was just
One thing I even observed from like what you just said, David, is that like Nolan made something so him and unique that,
but still
Batman, yeah. But Warner Brothers can't even hope to imitate it. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
it is way too good to be imitated, and like
especially
even if they fucking wanted to, David Zaslav won't fucking let him.
Yeah.
Because the guy's an idiot and he hates animation.
Nolan even like right now, Nolan is one of those few people that literally, as far as his legacy for DC goes, it's better than most. He made 3, the last one being a little touch kind of but at the very least, the way that they capped off the trilogy was great.
It was good.
At the very least, it was good.
Yeah.
And no one could deny the cultural significance of The Dark Knight. You just can't. Even for a movie now, at this point, it's like, what? Fucking 2008, maybe? So 15 years as far as that movie goes? Like, someone look it up for me real quick. But, the movie's age almost does not matter because it still holds up to this day.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, you're right.
And it is one of those movies that, like, I would love it if all 3 of us, we could just, if there was ever a time in any of our theaters that, like, they were doing, like, a re-opening or whatever, I guess, of The Dark Knight at a movie theater, I'd be fucking so down to watch that. It'd be better than almost anything.
Ever. Yeah.
Like, just seeing it again in theaters would be fucking nuts. Like,
people are starting to do that, man. Disney and Pixar are re-releasing a bunch of their movies in theaters again this summer, which I'm actually kind of disappointed about because I'm pretty sure they're just doing that to get Frozen back above the Mario movie.
They're also just like filling up seats, like, or filling up slots at movie theaters because like there's really not much coming out right now.
This really kind of ties into the box office like debacle that is this summer, right? Because I was just looking at the box office of like the 4 big movies that came out so far, right? Aside from Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Elemental, I believe, hasn't made its money back still, I don't think.
No.
Oh, damn, wow.
Yeah, its opening weekend was only 30 mil, right? I think it's only made 92 million to date. Like, it hasn't made that much, right?
Hasn't even broke, and you said it hasn't even broke even.
Indiana Jones definitely didn't break even. There was a $300 million movie. It's only made 60.
And that was the number 1 movie in theaters when it dropped last weekend as well. Not to mention, I know for a fact that The Flash on its second domestic weekend actually only made 15 million.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Which was a 75% drop from its opening weekend. Yeah. And
then the most recent thing to come out, that Teenage Kraken movie, only made like 6 million.
I was going to bring that up to you because I know you were really looking forward to that movie.
Well, I was looking forward to it because I like DreamWorks. I just like DreamWorks. But, you know.
DreamWorks is the most hit or miss company in the fucking world.
Oh, they really are. That's why
I didn't see Rudy Gilman. I don't know. I don't know its quality.
I don't think it's going to be very good.
I will say for real shit, Evan, they did not market that movie. I'm sorry, man. They didn't.
Every single movie they don't market is
I had no idea
usually...
what the fuck it was when you told me about it, man.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea. They dropped that, and the movie that they released 6 months prior, a sequel to a spin-off. A sequel to a fucking spin-off of an otherwise considered dead franchise, and the movie was more critically acclaimed than fucking Avatar.
I mean...
Same company made those back-to-back. Like,
And then you have, like, you know, same vein, like a couple, like, years ago. I forgot what they were releasing around that time. I think it was the first version of, like, Puss in Boots, right? Or the first one. And then, you know, they're releasing that shit. All of a sudden, How to Train Your Dragon. Okay, shit. It's just like, what the fuck?
But I think it's reflective then of, like, just, at least if we're comparing Disney and DreamWorks, it's like, that's just gonna be the way things are. That... They're gonna just release a fuck ton of shit, and it's gonna be shit, But then every now and then we're gonna just get something that makes our
We're gonna get like
titties
a How to
like,
Train Your Dragon,
yeah,
or
it's
like
just gonna make us cream a bit in our pants.
And
It's
here's
just
the
like
thing
would you
about-
prefer that model as opposed to Disney just crapping out like another mid movie like
But the
every
thing is,
year? You know what I mean?
for
I'll wait a
Disney's-
couple of fucking years for another Puss in Boots Last Wish.
But
Yeah,
Disney's problem is that the amount of volume
Okay.
they're trying to shovel out is
Okay.
immense. It's actually exhausting
I actually had a thing to say about
compared
why
to DreamWorks.
why this box office thing is so weird, right? It's not because like the movies are bad. Most of the time, the movies are just okay. Like,
They're
these
okay,
movies are just
yeah.
okay.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with
But
them. It's
see-
just like I had a
but
good
see-
time.
That's the thing, is that we've had so many, not even just okay, just safe movies that just do nothing bad, nothing great. They're just okay. We've had so many of those. I think the public is starting to figure out, okay, maybe it's not really worth seeing in theaters. I'll just wait for it to come out on fucking streaming services.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Like, I don't really care to go see it in theaters. Which, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. It's happening mostly to Disney, because Disney is the king of just safe. It's safe.
And
We're
also
not doing
media
anything.
and pushing out media. Like right
Yeah,
now,
pushing
at least.
out,
Like, they're
yeah.
just
Disney
just
is like the
pushing shit
yeah,
out.
they're the kings of pandering to the illusion of modern audiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is what
Yes.
they are. We
And
mentioned
every
this last
single-
week too. Like we make strong female character by making her as unlikable as possible and giving her all the qualities.
No,
of a
you have to
toxic
say it like a
man.
caveman, David. That's how these guys are in the writing table.
We make
women strong. Ooh, Joss Whedon humor. Be right behind me. Yes. Unga bunga.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to get out of the donut.
Like it's so like I just wish I was a fly in the wall for these writers meetings, because this is like, what do y'all talk about for like a whole fucking month before you actually put the script out?
We talked
also-
about this last week, Dennis. We know what their fucking market research is like. This is what they do. They go,
They go on Twitter.
no, but David, again, you have to talk like a caveman.
well, you hear me what do they like on Twitter? Okay, they like this. Twitter a real place. Totally not fake. Unga bunga. And then it pisses me off to no fucking end that there are these dumbass nepotism baby like motion picture executives that are like marketing geniuses, and all they fucking do is Google other shit that works and say, let's do this. Evan, perfect example of this. You remember Black Ops 4?
Yep.
Remember what they did with that fucking game?
I remember what the campaign was supposed to be. That was after, though. But yes.
Remember when they were halfway done making the campaigin for that game?
And they were like,
And then the director was like,
PUBG.
hey, you know what's really good right now? Really popular? Fortnite. Let's make our own Fortnite. And
I think it was PUBG
made
at the
their
time,
own
but
shitty-
yes, yeah.
Yeah, they made their own shitty battle royale, died within a year. And the game didn't have a campaign. Granted, that game's campaign would have been ass, but it's
That
what
game
made
was-
zombies an afterthought, and that's why zombies in Black Ops 4 was fucking dog shit, because they tried
Bro.
to innovate at a time when they couldn't. And all these fucking people are the same thing. They get paid millions of dollars to just fucking Google popular shit, and then tell the people below them to do that.
Yeah.
And then when it inevitably doesn't work, do they get fired? No. They fire all the hardworking animators
they
who
just
did
do
the
one
shit
of
on that
these, you
project.
know?
They fire the writers instead. Like, there
They
are
just-
amazing, like, visionary, like, technical directors. Like, amazing, like, like, ones who actually have amazing foresight. Like the people behind Puss in Boots. They tried something new. They knew that what they had was good. They weren't trying to be anything else, and it fucking worked. That's part of the
Another
reason why
thing-
that movie was so popular. It was actually original. It actually wasn't tropey.
and
It wa-
also, that was a movie where it's like they had nothing to lose. Like, what would they lose? Oh, Puss in Boots. Okay, whatever. At the
Yeah.
time, you know? It's like, okay, who cares? We'll
they
just try
actually
something.
took an existing IP and did something unique and great with it. Like, Puss grew with his audience. And
Can
these
I-
other ones just fucking...
Can I
God
also
damn
just
it.
say, like, one thing that I just looked up in my little research right now that I did? No one is talking about the director for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And
no.
I think it's fucking criminal, because this man is single-handedly responsible for probably most of what is great about DreamWorks. He did the
did he
Bee movie. No, that's not a good movie.
No.
Sorry for
Did he-
anyone who's
did-
a fan of the Bee movie, but
Did he do
Kung
How
Fu
to Train Your
Panda.
Dragon? Oh, shit.
No, Kung Fu Panda 2, Kung Fu Panda 3. I heard The Croods was actually pretty good, and
Yeah.
was actually like it was pretty good, and also Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Like, this I don't think this guy is getting enough credit where credit's due, really. And he quite possibly almost like, I mean, I'm not saying DreamWorks is an obscure company. That'd be fucking retarded to say. But it's just like, as far as like what they've been doing, no one really gives a flying fuck about them. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and this guy single-handedly at least brought them back to the discussion table. Because
with Kung Fu Panda, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, even just to Puss in Boots alone, he literally just brought them back to like at least the discussion table. Like, I think for a lot of people, and even before this movie came out, most people's
honestly,
what they have in their mouth. Oh yeah, go ahead.
DreamWorks just goes through a cycle of like, we'll just, like I said, we'll make shit. We'll eventually get a good movie. And we won't write it, we'll just let it die, and then we'll just keep going.
Oh, and we'll also shove out like a Shrek whatever the fuck. Oh, come on. We'll just shove out like a Shrek whatever out the door too. Like for you dumbasses to mouth breathe over. It's like, here, go, enjoy.
Here's another Shrek. Also, we'll release How to Train Your Dragon 2. Okay, and now we're just gonna release dog shit for the next like 3 years.
It's like a cake you ordered, right? And it's like you knew it was gonna be like a great cake, but someone just fucking just decided to spit on it, like, and you tasted that spit. Unfortunately, it's just like it really is unfortunate because
no,
it's like
it's more like you're ordering a cake that you've had before. And you're like, okay, this was good, and then they just it's a completely different cake. You have no idea what the fuck this is.
Change chefs. Yeah, they changed the baker.
Kind of makes you think of like how many showrunners and like producers, like the power that they have, and like how much changes and like when things move from department to department. You know what I mean? Like an idea could be so great originally, and then like they'll be like maybe a company will make like a change to it that fucking sucks.
I have a perfect
like it depends on how
example
much
of this.
control they let you have, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a perfect example of this because he was very open about it. It's one of my favorite TV shows.
I already knew what you were going to talk about.
Yeah. Dennis, have you ever heard of Final Space?
Give me 1 sec. It sounds very
It was on
familiar.
TBS. It's got like a little blonde man.
It was on TV. No, so here's the thing. It was on TBS, then it was on Adult Swim, and then it was on
this was
HBO
the show
Max,
made by Olin Rogers, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he was very open about how that show went to, like, they sent it to die. Like, you know, because, like, he was saying, like, exactly what you were talking about, David, where it's like, oh, you know, I wonder how much control they really have. The reality is, unfortunately, not a fucking whole lot.
Yeah.
Because the second season of that show, he specifically was talking about they just kept giving me notes that I had to include in the show or else they would shut me down, basically. Like, basically stuff they wanted him to do or else he would not have a show anymore. Which, oddly enough, that season was one of the better seasons, even though it was a shit fest of, like, ideas thrown at the wall that they were just saying, like, do this or else you can't do it anymore. He's like, okay, fine. And he made it work. And then season 3 happened. You know, it ended on a cliffhanger, a very big cliffhanger. And then he comes onto YouTube saying, they shut me down. Because apparently we weren't getting enough views in the same way that, like, kind of like, what's the show? My Life as a Teenage Robot was sent to die. They put it on a time slot that no one knew about. It's like, you know,
oh my god, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, like Go ahead, keep going.
It was like, I was like, I didn't realize how badly, like, the suits have over, like, control over the show.
Yeah.
Like, the corpos are just like, hey, we want you to do the popular thing that people are talking about on Twitter.
Yeah, they just like kind of go through that trending list and it's just like, okay, let's see. Black hatred, no, can't do that. Alt-right, we can do that. We could put that in there somehow.
We're gonna make fun of it somehow. Okay,
we're gonna make fun of it. Yeah, we're gonna make fun of conservatives.
How do you
obviously,
expect to have success?
Strong women, gotta have that. You can't have a good movie without a strong woman. Just can't do it. Can't do it. Can't be vulnerable, can't be likable, can't be vulnerable, gotta be a stone cold bitch the whole fucking time. It just
can't
has to
like
be,
men. Can't
like
like
men, yeah. It just has to be all about the fucking pussy, like they 24/7, just all
and then
about
they don't
the
even like
estrogen.
that.
They don't even like that either. It's
Because
just
femininity equals weakness, right? Funny enough, how that message comes off mad hypocritical. How do you expect to have that kind of success when you do the market research for your big budget projects the way me and Dennis do market research for our fucking topics on this show? How did this animator even describe it, man? They said that, like, working on this sequel was death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's actually what this guy said.
Wait, Spider-Verse?
Yeah, that's actually what
Spider-Verse,
this
yeah.
person said. Yeah, it's like still going back to Spider-Verse, I guess. I mean, unless you guys want to talk about Twitter, in case with whatever time we have left, I don't.
No, Spider-Verse honestly was like is the opposite of what we were talking about. So
It's actually something good.
Yeah.
Roger Dodger. Yeah, man, it's go ahead.
I can't remember the quote. Yeah, but he was saying something like it was a lot of little things that started piling up until like they just couldn't take it anymore, and I think they had a giant walkout for Spider-Man.
They did. Like 100 animators quit, apparently.
Yeah, 100 animators. They didn't just walk out like, a typical walkout where they go on strike. No, they just quit. They were just gone.
It says 100 of the Across the Spider-Verse film crew would choose to depart the grueling project, which Pascal admits involved major overhauls to both the narrative and the visuals along the way.
Yeah. Apparently they had to rewrite the movie, not rewrite the movie, but reanimate the movie like once. Like once over, from what I understand.
Fucking hell.
Only once?
Yeah. Well, as in like, that's already a lot.
Oh, you mean once it was finalized, you mean?
Yeah, once it was like almost finished, I think they had to reanimate a bunch of scenes, so they had to go back and like reanimate some stuff.
I would have walked out with them if I heard that. Fuck you guys.
No, like most of the scenes I think were done up until then, and then they were like, oh, by the way, we want the director or someone said we need to change this. Change it. It's like, oh god.
Well, they would have, like, finalized scenes that were not even finalized, that they made them go over, like, 5 more times, which then has to get sent to, like, the shading department, which then has to get, like, lined into another one, and that has to happen over and over and over again. Meanwhile, you have these corporate, like, fucking fucks, like, behind their necks being like, oh, you gotta get this out by this point. I'd be like, dude, we're trying. We're trying. You're the one who's fucking, like, being a dick and saying, like, we have to do this shit over and over and over again.
There was actually a really good video about, oddly enough, not the Spider-Verse. It was from Corridor Crew, right? They were talking to the head animator of Avatar: The Way of Water, mostly about the technical side. And there was something that was said that was very interesting that I really hope more directors take into account and like corpos, whatever, right? Was that James Cameron was saying, okay, like for the scenes like that were 90% like CG, right? He's like, we could sit here and do this over and over again, where I tell you what I want, we wait like 3 weeks, and then like I tell you, oh, I don't want it, right? Or we could just try to get this one scene in live action perfect, so we can skip all the animation, right? Which was like, it was very interesting because he was a director. Unfortunately, like most directors are not, but he was very aware of like the pipeline process that David was talking about, where they have to send it through like a pipeline, and then they get the final result, and then they can see if they want it or not.
Yeah.
Which is how the pipeline works, but it does suck when you're like, yeah, we rendered the scene of her talking. We don't like it. Reanimate the whole thing.
We don't like the way the lips moved. Redo it.
Yeah, we don't like the lip quiver.
It is like a 30-second fucking take that they've done for the last 3 months. Like, and that's how it
scares me too, because if these fucking pricks are like impatient enough or like stupid enough about animation to be like, oh, just do it again and still get it out by this time, those strike me as the same kind of people who, if it ever gets to that point, will try to replace these people with artificial intelligence.
Oh, no, they will.
Solely because it's faster. And that is why I never purchase any product that has AI voiceover as their commercial. Like, if there's AI voiceover on the commercial, I promise you, if this goes for anybody listening, I will never fucking buy. I don't give a fuck how fucking broke you are. I will never, ever buy your product if you hire an AI voice to advertise it. Ever. If you can't pay a voice actor, then maybe reassess your fucking business model. Or even just a normal
spokesperson to fucking, like, literally just, advertise your product. It's like...
Yeah. And I don't want to see a whole, like, animation that was not animated by a person. I've seen those filters. Not only do they look like shit, but it's also, there's just no fucking soul.
That's the other thing, is that, the interesting thing about AI, aside from the fact that, like, they can make stuff without human input, is that, AI, the better it gets at mimicking humans, the better it gets at detecting when it's not made by a human. So you could just be like, I have an AI specifically geared towards fuck AI. It's like,
it's a two-way street at the end of the day.
That's the interesting thing, yeah. Because the better it gets at doing its own thing, the better it gets at going, oh yeah, that's not real.
Or it's like, or it also goes like, that sounds like a full of shit. Like, that's the AI talking. It already knows. It's like, I made that. I did that.
I remember telling David about this regarding AI, was that there was an entire Twitch show. It was like an actual show where it was just trying to learn how to make a sitcom in the style of like Seinfeld, right? And it got very scary because that AI is in a closed space, by the way. It has no access to internet, so it doesn't actually read comments or whatever, right?
So it's just using its own database to
it's
like
using its own database of like Seinfeld episodes to just figure out what it's doing, right?
Right.
It eventually had an episode where it was talking to itself in self-aware like terms about the obviously not sentient. It was just talking to itself about like, what if we weren't real and stuff like that, you know? And I'm just like, what the fuck? By the way, that only took 2 days of constant running of Seinfeld episodes, but still, it only took 2 days of it being like, you know, making stupid like laugh track bullshit like at the beginning where it's like not even funny, and then later on it got funny, and then later on it got scary because it was just like, what if our creators never come back or something like that? I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I thought this was a sitcom, you know?
And it just gets into like that real existential type shit.
Yeah,
and,
it
like,
started getting existential, and I was like, that's what scared me. Not so much the fact that it can become sentient. That's a whole different ballpark. The fact that it can be like, oh, yeah, this isn't real. You know, what then?
I mean, we also have like those dumbass shower thoughts too. Like, I think at the very least, if there is any similarities that I guess maybe AI and human beings may have, it's just we think of really pointless shit for no reason.
All the time.
Like we just for some reason like think it's like deeper than it actually is. 99% of the time, it's really not. Like, I guarantee you, like, a lot of the shit we think of is a bunch of nothing sandwiches. It really is. And there are occasions, yes, that, like, one may argue, okay, like, you know, at the very least, it sounds compelling. You know, the way, like, even anyone could speak garbage, but if he says it in an eloquent manner, it's still just eloquent garbage, but at the very least, it's eloquent. And, like, I could literally go and write a 2,000-page essay about why I think I am hearing the color blue. And literally, if I write it well enough, someone is gonna fucking go like, oh, wow, I could actually hear the color blue too. Oh, like everyone just has like those like kind of agreements in their head about like whatever they're hearing, because at least, at the very least, it sounds compelling. And I guess going on to like, at least we're gonna wrap it up in a bit, but it's like, at least when it comes to AI and like how people are even saying that they're gonna be trying to kind of bring it into like the movie making process, and like not really actually like wholesale yet, because it's just rumblings and the technology still, it's very much
the worst
like,
it'll ever be. Yeah, at this point. Yeah,
and like, you know, it's just only gonna get better, sure. Yeah, but I even like still I'm on the fence with AI in that I think it is great as a supplementary tool and not just as a crutch. It's like
a tool,
It's a tool at best. Like, that's what you should use it as, but at the same time, I think you have to use it the same way that a carpenter or an artisan uses a hammer and, like, you know, just any tool in their box.
Overuse it, and you'll break the thing you're working on, you know?
You'll break it, and also, like, at the very least, like, there's just some things that you just, it's better to do with your own fucking hands. And again, like, as far as AI goes and like the application that it could be used at, like, I'm a fucking knuckle dragging idiot. I'm only probably scraping the surfaces of like what we could do with AI at this point. But like, at the very least, like, you know, I know a tool when I see one. And I think for anyone like trying to go ahead and like kind of get an edge on anybody else or anything else and using it, I'm not really against. But again, it's like, you know, you have to also realize that as far as at least movies are concerned, specifically them, they're literally creations made by human beings, and everything that we literally like feel emotion-wise and even mentally-wise, it's poured into that production. If you really care about it, at least. Like, no one's really pouring their heart and soul into an Adam Sandler movie, but if like there is like a fucking project that you are like kind of just really passionate about, they're gonna pour their heart and soul into it,
and you're gonna feel it when you watch it.
Exactly, yeah. Like, you're gonna feel like, okay, like this is something that, you know, maybe the director or somebody like they've gone through, like at least something like that. And it'll resonate with you at the very least. And the moment you take that away and replace it, let's say, with something made artificially using an AI, and an AI's database is only just using everything that like
a human teaches it.
And it's restricted by that database. Whatever they have in there, that's what they have to work with. And you know, you could pour all the shit that you want into it, but at the very least, it's like, you know, you can't replicate like genuine emotion from like through a bunch of zeros and ones onto a screen. And
yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things where like, even though AI is like at a point where it's at its worst, at this point in time, every single time I see an AI generated picture or whatever, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it looks good, but it's not like, it doesn't.
Person didn't make that.
It doesn't feel like someone made that, or it just doesn't feel real. So it's like I don't really have the same opinions of it as I do
think,
like the Mona Lisa or something, you know?
Yeah.
I think
Even though that's not finished either.
Yeah.
Fucking hate that picture. Most overrated piece of painting I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't even fucking finished either.
It's also tiny.
I didn't know that.
Yo, you know the history of it too? Shit got stolen like 5 times out of a museum and somehow it just resurfaced all of a sudden in like, I think France or Italy.
Yeah,
and then
something like that.
Yeah.
I know, dude.
And,
It's like
one
a
of them
real
was
life
just like, can we have
NFT.
that back?
I know, dude. It's like a real life NFT. Isn't that cool?
Isn't that cool? It's almost like, you know, you have a picture and it's real.
And it's real.
I think
you could
the
use
thing
it for money.
that makes me the saddest about AI. This is the kind of technology people have been talking about for a long time, right?
In movies and television
And
and
just popular
animes.
culture.
Yeah.
And then they immediately go like the Terminator way of like it'll destroy the world or it could do this, blah blah blah. And usually how it's portrayed in media is as things that make our lives easier.
Mhm.
Those are the practices that I support artificial intelligence for. When it doesn't really take away someone's job or it removes an unnecessary job while helping them escalate to another one.
Or it even
if that
improves
makes any
it.
sense.
Like, it improves your work output too.
Yes.
Like, just helps you.
But I think the thing that makes me the most sad about AI is that the whole idea of it is to make, you know, sort of practical, or the idea about it was that it's supposed to make practical or tedious jobs easier, so
Mhm.
we as humans could focus more organically on the arts.
What makes art?
And instead, the exact opposite is happening.
Mm.
They're trying to use it to replace artists instead of the tedious jobs.
Yep.
Which is not
Mhm.
right.
No.
You know,
It doesn't make
we're
sense.
Not, it's not right. We're removing creativity so there can be more people fucking more janitors or whatever, like, or more fucking more people like, you know, running the desk at like McDonald's. Granted, there's the one automated McDonald's that already exists in Texas, which even does have some workers in the back, but you guys see what I mean, right? Like, you know, the whole point of it
Yeah.
was that it's like supposed to make our lives easier so we can focus more on things we're passionate about, but instead it's replacing the passionate jobs.
Mhm.
That's what the people who are making it are trying to do. Instead, it's going after voice actors. It's going after
Yeah.
artists. It's going after all these things. Going after
And music
singers
too.
And I was just gonna. Thank you. I was literally, you took the words out of my mouth. It's going after singers now. Be like, but we can make a new Tupac song now. But like, it's not him. It's
Yeah.
literally
Well,
not
he's
fucking
dead.
him. Like, he's
Yeah.
dead. Get over it. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
You know,
And
I agree. I agree.
replicating their voices as well. And instead, we could have used
It's
it to like.
disrespectful too, in my opinion.
It's
Like,
insanely disrespectful.
I don't
bro.
want to
Like,
hear another new Michael Jackson song
dude,
in
it's
2023. I don't want to hear it.
disrespectful. Like, just to make something we're used to instead of new creative works. I'll tell you what happens when we get new creative works. We get fucking Puss in Boots: The Last Wishes. That's what we get when we actually have organic love and thought put into something. We get
get the original
animated movies that
Spider-Verse.
are sequels to spin-offs of otherwise dead franchises that are more critically acclaimed than the new fucking Avatar movie, which was like 2 decades in the making.
And can
We're
I
just-
also?
It's going about it the wrong way. That's
No,
that's
yeah.
all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
agree
don't
with
want
that
to
too.
see that shit
Mhm.
infected. That's why I don't support that practice. As a voice actor myself, you know, I obviously don't support that fucking practice for that reason. It's why we're using this technology for the wrong things. You know,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
it
we're
just pisses
directing
me
it
off.
also like weirdly too. Like it's just kind of going into areas that like it just does not need to be in.
And
And-
the odd thing is, it went into those areas first. It didn't even like
Yeah.
start with like, you know, like David was saying, you know, with the little things where it's like, oh, we could just make, you know, phone work easier or like text work easier. No, it just went straight. We'll make images.
Mm.
It's like
We'll make
huh?
images.
Like-
we'll make media
We'll make media.
in general. Like thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if anything, AI, all it is also like at least the way that's being used. It's a media generator. It's like
Yeah.
you could just literally like put little bits and pieces of things that you want it to have, and then
And
after
just-
that, just let it compile, and then boom, there you go. And
Yeah.
I know that's probably a gross oversimplification of it, but it's like that's at least the way that people
It's being
are-
portrayed and being
and
used.
it's and being used because it's like again we like at least when art was like not that it has even changed yet like or like the dynamic has shifted but like right now and even way back when everything was made by our own hands like we
And-
drew it, we sang it, we wrote it, like that's what the whole process was. And
And the thing that worries me the most is that this recent box office debacle is probably going to be like, oh, well, these movies are expensive because, you know, we have to pay all these people.
Mhm.
What if we just didn't have them?
Yeah. And just
That's
make
why-
the AI do everything.
Yeah, make the AI replace fucking like how they kind of like deep fake someone's face now, like in movies, like in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not to
in
mention
Rogue
that
One,
shit
yeah,
too.
Peter
Yeah.
Cushing's face got
Peter
deep
Cushing's
faked.
face deep faked, which I was like, okay, sure, it's a technical marvel because he looks really good.
It
except when
looked
he moves.
bad.
No.
It
It's-
looked bad.
It only looks good in stills. It does not look good in motion.
Yeah.
Definitely
once
not.
once he moves his face, he's just kind of like, oh.
But I was like, okay,
Stop
so
moving.
it looks good in practice, whatever, right?
Mm.
I don't care the technical, know-how that it takes to make something like that. What I care more about is now you could just be like, well, we just scan the actor's face and we just never have them show up.
And it'll save us like a good couple of bucks because like that just
We don't
leaves
have to
out like
pay
someone
them.
we have to pay. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have to pay the AAA actor. We could just
we don't
use
have
their
to.
likeness.
We don't have to pay them. We don't have to pay the union. We don't. It just saved like a good couple of bucks. And at the very least, like the way that we kind of see the way Hollywood be penny pinching a lot of times.
Oh
If
yeah,
they can save money, they'll do it. And like
yeah, they'll do it. They'll
And
do
if
it in a
shit-
heartbeat.
yeah, and if shit don't make money for them, it's just like okay, like we're just gonna get rid of you.
We're not
Because,
even talking
again-
about like the illegal shit either.
No,
We're not even
exactly.
talking
This
about
is-
the fact that you could take someone's face and put it in porn.
This is all
Which
stuff
has happened
that's
multiple times with the Twitch streamers, if you remember that shit. When
Yeah.
that went down, when they put like Cutie Cinderella and Pokimane and like
Yeah.
all
and,
their faces, yeah.
Amaranth and whatever the
Mhm.
deaf one, the not the deaf one,
Oh,
the Tourette's, the
Anita?
one with Tourette's, Anita,
Tourette's,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. So we did
Sweet
all
Anita.
of them. Like just put them in pornos because women on the internet only exist for our pleasure because there's porn and we can get any fetish we want. That
Yeah.
means every woman on the internet exists
Isn't-
only for
yeah.
our pleasure and we can put them in porno too.
Yeah,
There needs to be like more tighter laws against that. Like
Well,
there
yeah,
needs
that's
to be
what I
like
mean,
new
like-
litigation for everything. Yeah.
this shit is still like
fucked.
the Wild West for even legislation because
And
right now it's like
hell, I
it's basically
the
legal.
listeners at home, I was being sarcastic, by the way, in case you're dumb and that wasn't clear. I just need that to be.
It's
need that to
basically
be sure. Okay, sorry.
it's
Dennis.
basically
Yeah.
legal because it's not illegal yet.
well,
And-
and the other thing is, the thing about legislation is it's so glacially slow. We're still trying to catch up to the internet. We haven't even caught up to the internet yet. The internet's been out for like fucking like 20 years, like 20 something years. And it's just like, oh, we're only now doing legalization and like litigation around
Or even
like
talking about it.
or even
like, right
talking
now.
about it around
Yeah.
like fair use and shit like that.
Mhm.
Only barely now. I mean, we technically still are talking about that. And then
Yeah.
while we're talking about that, all of a sudden NFTs, AI, fucking AI movies, AI voices, deepfakes. What do we do about that? And it's like,
If anything, it
We
just
don't
goes
know.
to show why laws
don't
are
know.
important. Because it goes to show why laws are important. Because even in these tiny periods when technology is new enough before legislation catches up to it, people are going to be doing this shit. Only now is the government really cracking down on crypto.
oh yeah,
Like, they're
Oh, yeah.
really cracking down on it now. And, like, when they saw NFTs, it was just a blip on their fucking radar. And then
well,
that
no,
shit
it was a
crashed.
blip on the radar until they stole from the government, like money laundering. I was like, okay, we're on this.
Yeah.
Let's fucking
Yeah.
get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I am optimistic that the right laws will eventually catch up to stuff like AI and whatnot.
I'm
It's the
optimistic
only
as
thing I've
well.
ever really agreed with Elon about, despite the fact that the man is destroying Twitter because of his hubris, which I'm quite happy about. But
doesn't like
either
AI.
way, I
That's
don't
true.
want shit like AI to replace any passionate artists. As somebody who aspires for certain things myself, as I know multiple people in this call do. So if Spider-Verse takes several more years to come out because you let people not piss in fucking jars and have proper lunch breaks and all sorts of good things, that's what I want. I don't normally agree with like the Twitter consensus, but that's what everybody on Twitter was saying. They're like, please delay this fucking movie, please. Like,
oh no,
please
and
do
even
it.
the
Like,
animators, some of the animators that are on that movie were saying stuff like, there is no shot this is coming out in March.
I was looking at it right now because they announced Beyond the Spider-Verse is dropping March of next year. Be like, oh, they probably worked on it at the same time. There's not a chance in hell. They
There's
started
not a chance
stuff
in
on the
hell.
pre-production side, but like, apparently from what I've been reading, like as far as the production side goes, the only progress that they made on the third one are like the exploration and the exploration tests that were done before the movie was split in two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this movie barely crossed the finish line without all these people quitting, and like you're cranking out another one before the
Yeah, because like
the fucking year is over. Like
I said, like the movie,
I'm sorry,
the first
but
one was
there's
like
there's not a chance in hell that movie's dropping in March. That's my end statement here. Like before we wrap, there's not a chance in hell, and I don't want AI to speed up that process. I'd rather the movie take a long ass time to make, so organic human heart and love can be put into it.
Well, because if AI speeds up that process, then we have a situation where if the movie does well, it's like, well, now all of Hollywood's going to do shit like that.
People aren't going to care. They'll still see it. What
I mean is like if the movie will do well, yeah, and then like Hollywood will have the green light to just go, oh, we could just do that now. I mean, the public, like you said, will not give a shit because it'll be a good movie, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah. Using it as a tool can be great, but it's about finding that balance. Again, it's all new territory that like really no one knows what they're talking about yet. It's like the beginning of COVID, if that makes any sense. Like everybody's saying, do this, wear a mask in public, don't leave your house ever or anything.
The best advice I can give you is just don't go outside.
Do this and do that. The virus affects you this way because you're like this. When in retrospect, it was a new virus. Fucking no one knew anything about it yet.
That was why, like I said,
dick about it yet. And it's the same thing with AI.
The best advice was don't go out.
Yeah, because we didn't know what to fucking do yet.
Yep.
Well, I'm hungry.
It's a shitty place to leave off.
Yeah, basically,
what a way to end
conclusion,
the podcast.
In conclusion, Spider-Verse was great. AI, don't touch it. All right, just don't touch good things ever. Like
Dennis,
ever.
they should hire you to make log lines for like TV shows and stuff because
it's not about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Let's go Mets.
Oh, damn, I thought you were gonna go like the Heath Ledger Joker.
That's what I was gonna do too. I was about to say like, it's not about the Mets, Spider-Man.
It's not.
It's about sending a message.
No, I love that meme so much. That's why I put the fucking. It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's get a home run, baby. Come on.
If you haven't seen Spider-Verse yet, please do. Support.
Yes, it's good movie. Good watch.
Good movie.
Yes, please look up the hashtag New Deal for animation. Look into that and look what these new union contracts are doing for animation and their strikes and the writer's strike as well. Look into why these people are doing it, and you will find out why it's happening and what the SAG-AFTRA and all these types of organizations are doing to ensure that art is made by humans, ensure that it's quality, and ensure that the people who make it are paid and treated fairly. That is why the Venture Brothers is as broken of a show as it is. They take like 3 fucking years between each season.
I mean, hey, it's good though.
Yeah, that's why they give them that creative control, huh? Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic, boys. All right, like I know this was a little doom and gloom, but we'll feel it out.
Yeah,
we'll feel it out. We'll show on the doll where the AI touched you.
Humankind has a way of like being like the worst before like something great happens.
Yes.
That's the cycle that we live in.
That's the cycle. We have like the worst time like in anything, like in media and war or whatever. Yeah.
AI didn't make Danny Phantom.
Nope.
It didn't make Fire God Liu Kang. Which is the most badass thing I've ever seen in any piece of media in my life, and you can't even tell me that it wasn't. Dennis, did you ever watch that video I sent you?
God of Fire.
No, I wasn't able to.
The one it's literally just like a minute-long video of like one sequence at the end of Mortal Kombat 11, and I've never gotten so hard watching another man than I have in that fucking moment. I'm just saying.
I know exactly what moment you're talking about too. That's amazing.
Yeah. You already know. Just the sheer power. We're done.
Plugs.
We hope you guys enjoyed. Follow us at Double D Pod on Twitter while you still can. And also on Instagram at Double D Experience 21.
We're gonna die.
I just realized.
AI's
before we switch to fucking Blue Sky or Hive or Mastodon or whatever the one that Meta's trying to make. Meta's trying to make a Twitter. They're calling it Threads.
We're gonna make our own Twitter, and it's gonna be great with blackjack and hookers.
All I hear is Threads, and I just think
Kick,
of like
there's
fucking
Kick
Yeezys.
already exists, bro. There's already Kick. What are you talking about, Dennis? You can follow us wherever you follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That helps with our SEO. That would be really thoughtful. I'm talking to you, Evan. You're literally in the call. You can hear me right now. I can see your face. Leave us a good review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you don't fucking do it, just never speak to me again.
No, we replaced Evan with an AI.
You never get
an AI clone.
Yeah, Evan actually wasn't even here.
He's
he's doing it right now. Look at that shit.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that AI.
Please,
so
please
lifelike.
write it like, and I could say this because I literally have Asperger's, but please write the review like an autistic 12-year-old. if you can. Like, this is the best podcast I ever listened to.
Spider-Man movie was the best Spider-Man movie because Spider-Man was black.
I'm just gonna write 10 out of 10.
Funny.
Josh Whedon's behind me. Someone help.
Josh Whedon behind me. Send help.
Go for it.
Please.
And also on YouTube, youtube.com/Nintoonist. Like, comment, subscribe. I will eventually get to making the video essays again. I'm still writing the Toy Story one. It's almost done. I can't believe they yassified.
That was AI generated.
You can tell.
We were never here.
I heard your
meat-
dick got stuck in a door. Lol.
Foolish meatbag. You've been played. Oh my god. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah, Evan doesn't have any plugs, so you can just follow him in real life.
Oh, don't do that, please.
Yo, here's his address.
Dox him, motherfucker.
Yeah, Evan, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry, it was real clutch today. I'm sorry to have dropped it on you, but Dennis literally just told me this morning, like, yeah, I want to talk about Spider-Verse. I'm like, oh, you saw it. So I'm like, okay, good.
Yes.
Like Evan wanted to come on to talk about it. I hope your dogs didn't piss
And
themselves.
so we did.
In the
So we
meantime.
did.
And so we did. We hope you guys enjoyed. Love y'all.
Goodbye,
and,
guys.
We'll see you next week. We're all gonna
Hate
make
you
all
all.
three of us are gonna make out with you at the same fucking time. Are you ready?
If you live in New York State, I would drop a bomb on your fucking state if I could.
Oh god.